So in this video, I want to share with you the saying that we often hear that knowledge is power. I'm sure you've heard it, right? I'm sure you heard it when you were at school. You've got to do your work, you've got to do your studying, you've got to learn this knowledge because otherwise you're never going to succeed in life. And then we even hear it later on, the more that people read, the more successful they are. Well, I don't believe that to be really true because look, the thing is, haven't you found that many times you've read self-help books or you've read books on something you want to learn, marketing, strategies, how to make more money, how to even cook a recipe, right? How to make a meal. And yet once you've closed that book, you still need help. You still need somebody to show you what you really need to do. See, the truth is, it's not about just the knowledge. It's about understanding that knowledge, understanding what you've read. And it's about making sure that you go back and repeat it until you really understand it. Understand it enough that then you can start implementing it. Because look, once you start implementing, that's when you really start learning. So you implement what you think you have learned, and then what you can do is you can learn from your mistakes. By implementing something, you're going to be taking that one next step with the knowledge that you've learned. But then you're going to get the feedback of how well you learnt it and how much better you could actually improve on it. And then it's about going back and sharing what you learn, what went well, what didn't go well, and doing this with a group of like-minded people, potentially in the same line of work as you or in the same lifestyle as you, whatever it is that you want to get better at. Okay. So, for example, in my industry, it's about sharing what I've learned with salon owners. And it's about then making sure that you go back to really understand what you need to improve on. For example, if you were reading a book, you'd potentially read the book from front to back completely, right? You might mark a few things in the book that you want to remember. But then often what happens is we shut that book and then we go on to another book. And we might remember one or two things, but do we really implement everything that we've learned? And the best way of really reading and getting knowledge to understand so that you can implement it, so you can succeed, is to go back with that book continuously until it becomes ingrained in you and it becomes exactly what you do. Go back and read that book, go back and get that knowledge and make notes, and then go back and implement what you've learned time and time again to learn from your mistakes and share it with other people in your industry. Because look, knowledge alone won't change your results, guys. What you do with that knowledge will. So what I'd like to do is actually set you a challenge here. I'd love you to now think about something that you potentially have been sitting on for quite a while. Something, maybe a book you've read, maybe some advice that somebody's given you, but you haven't actually put it into practice. So what I'd like to challenge is take a look at that and then go and put it into practice and make notes about what you've learned by actually implementing it. And then share that here, because that's something that I would love to read and love to hear how well you're doing. And then go back and implement it again and see what you've learned from that. So go ahead, take that challenge. And if you know anybody else that really needs to take those next steps, or kind of procrastinating with taking those next steps forwards, or someone you know that consistently reads but never changes their life, well, I'd love you to take this challenge too.